Well, it's been a topsy-turvy couple of days for the ANC. On Wednesday, the party was meant to officially open its candidate nomination process at the 55th National Elective Conference that will be held in December. But it stopped the process at the 11th hour because the National Executive Committee had yet to ratify the branch audits. Now, the special sitting of the NEC scheduled for Sunday initially has been brought forward to Friday. Let's talk about these changes with the ANC's national spokesperson, Pule Mabe, with me in studio this lunchtime. Pule, welcome. Why has this meeting been brought forward of the NEC?
Well, good day and good day to your viewers. Well, we were initially supposed to have the meeting on Sunday. We have brought it forward to Friday to allow us to really expedite the opening of the nomination processes. Your colleagues were already asking us yesterday if we won't be out with a week because of the postponement. Now, what the audit team has been doing, so this is actually a reflection of the good work done by our audit team. So they've been working around the clock to make sure that in the shortest time possible, we are able to allow this membership report to serve before the National Executive Committee for ratification. That meeting now sits on Friday. The next step, once those membership audits are adopted by the NEC, you then now sit with something called a draft credentials. Now it means that you now have got a clearer picture of how you're going to constitute the 55th National Conference. So on Monday, the Treasurer General on behalf of the Secretary General's office and on behalf of the entirety of the NEC will then be able to now brief the press on the process. So we are expecting that next week, branch nomination processes for the National Executive Committee will start in earnest throughout the country.
So this report then, how ready is it if the meeting has been brought forward by 2 days essentially? Will it be ready for the meeting tomorrow?
Actually, by bringing it forward, it means the report is ready.
So it's completed?
Yes, the report is ready. I mean, it's just a demonstration of the effectiveness of the ANC, and we must thank all of the comrades involved in this process for them to have worked around the clock to make sure that we are able to meet our deadlines.
And let's go back a few steps, because I know this is likely to have come up yesterday, the issue of once the report is before the NEC, and should there be issues from the general membership, what room is there for that, and how quickly do you think you'd be able to deal with that process?
Well, the disputes that would come from membership would not be around this report itself, because basically what augments the report now is the renewals. So we had extended the date of renewals from August previously to the 3rd of September, which was now last week. So what they were doing with the report really was to then check on how many renewals are you sitting with, and if you effect them, what do they do to the status of your own branches? Because we allocate delegation to conferences proportionally. So if you have got a bigger membership, you are then incentivized. Your branch will have more delegates. Now, what branches of the ANC have been doing during this shortest time is that you have had many renewals coming, which now tells you that there is greater affirmation of a success, looking forward to a successful conference come December from amongst the rest of our members. And this is really encouraging for us.
It's been a tricky year for the ANC, to say the least, when you consider the back and forth around the step-aside resolution, the various other issues raised at provincial level. How confident are you that you will be able to reach the start of that conference in December without major incident, and indeed get through it in its entirety without major embarrassment?
Well, we don't have to go far. We just have to use the National Policy Conference. You know, the National Policy Conference that just happened a month ago, just happened towards the end of July, is a sufficient platform to be able to say we are not going to have chaos. But look at how well organized the policy conference was.
On size alone, it's different.
Well,
because
not quite.
You're expecting a larger group of people, are you not, at the National Elective Conference? But also, you then have the element of what is likely to be a slightly more intense environment because of the contestation for positions.
Not necessarily. I invite you to follow through all our provincial general councils. You will see greater harmony is going to prevail. Cadres are going to be engaging robustly in debates in the same way that they did. It is not the size. So basically you are suggesting to the viewers of ENCA that when members of the ANC...
Newzroom Afrika.
No, I'm sorry about that.
Wrong house.
Forgive me for that. Because you guys changed, man. I mean, the other time we're talking to you from the other side. I really apologize for that. You see, you are really suggesting to the viewers of Newzroom Afrika that if the ANC calls a larger number to a meeting, it is likely to see rowdiness. And yet we have experienced January 8. We've got January 8 events where we bring thousands and thousands of people, and never have we had...
But I qualify that to say you now have the element where it's not just policy, but the personality dynamics around the election of leaders.
But remember, by the time you go to the National Conference, you shall have fulfilled PGCs. You'll have convened those PGCs. And in the PGCs, you accord provinces an opportunity to express themselves on their own perspective. When you get to the National Conference, basically, provinces will have formulated and consolidated their own views.
Right.
It is those views coming out of provinces which must now be embraced by their provinces. So unlike in your regional and provincial conferences, which might not have had RGCs or PGCs, the National Conference, as part of the critical steps taken, is that they must have a provincial general council to formulate positions of those provinces, even on policy matters. They come from the National Policy Conference. Certain recommendations have been made. We have sent those recommendations back to branches so that they are able to do the necessary refinement where they think such is required.
Okay.
And then they will come back at the PGC, pronounce themselves. When they go to the... So now, you don't get into a provincial, in a national conference, and a view that could not prevail in your PGC, which you attempted to raise. Now you get into the national conference, you shock the leadership of your province, your region and your sub-region and your zone. You start raising issues that you could not imagine on in your own province. So that's why this exercise that we are doing of PGCs, of BGMs, it's necessary to facilitate a harmonious and peaceful 55th National Conference, which we are all looking forward to.
We're running out of time. You're going this weekend, well, at least your president, Cyril Ramaphosa, will be in Limpopo for the Latima campaign. What is the actual benefit for the people post these visits? Because it's not the first, but what do people actually gain from it?
Well, what people gain out of the Latima campaign is that they are now able to see an ANC that is participating in the reconstruction and development of their own communities. An ANC that says where there are service delivery gaps, as a formation that exists in this community, we are able to play the role of being active citizens. Remember, before you are a member of the ANC, you are a member of the community. Mm-hmm. So what this does is that it brings in a sense of patriotism amongst ANC members. It provides them with the space to deal with issues of social inclusion, with issues of community development, with issues of crime where they live, to make sure that structures such as community policing forums are revived to the benefit of the community. To also begin having, if you like, a sheet that deals with some of the problems that they have. During elections, we will have street sheets. This time around, it's not just street sheets where you go and ask people their own problems. You know that in Linyanye, out in Makshope, in Zanin, where the president is visiting, there is this road, this main road, that has got potholes. But the ANC has been able to mobilize sufficient donations to be able to patch the road.
But it's a failure, is it not, of ANC-run councils where you're now, as a party, having to raise donations to fix what is essentially a service delivery issue.
Well, it's not a failure. Actually,
but if the road has potholes but you now, as a political party, have to raise funds, it means there's been a failure.
No, it's not a failure. Remember, roads are being used every day.
But it's not the job of political parties.
No, but we can't do that. We can't speak like people who want to march to the ANC for it not raining. You know,
if the municipalities and the provincial governments and national government were fully effective, the political party would not have to raise money to do something as basic as fix a road.
You know why the ANC has got this statement in the Freedom Charter that the people shall govern? It is not only the people constituting structures of governance. Mm-hmm. It is also the people playing a role of being active citizens, making sure that when they know of crime where they live, they are able to alert the police, making sure that they safeguard public infrastructure so that it is able to service the interest of everyone in those communities. For the ANC to play that active role in the community, it is necessary to aid the good work being done by government of the ANC. Even if it's not a government of the ANC, we're not just going to visit councils where the ANC is in charge, because our people live everywhere. You and I are now having this broadcast here in the studios of Newzroom Afrika, where the DA is in charge. I didn't say no. I cannot come to Oxford Street in Randburg because suddenly there is a DA that is in charge. No.
Okay.
We go to each and every street in this country, and where we identify, because you see, we must actually deal with this notion that wants to remove the ANC from society. We are not just sitting there in high halls watching people down there.
And
no,
we are
part of the people.
And there are those inefficiencies, which is why there's been this frustration and a drop in electoral support, even in areas where, for example, in Limpopo, yes, you're still the largest party, but it's no longer the numbers that you used to garner 10, 15 years ago. But I want to move on from that. I want to talk about the president being able to go to Lenyenye, for example, in Limpopo this weekend to front such a campaign, just as you are about to open up the nomination process. It gives him, does it not, an advantage because he basically gets to be out there and make himself more appealing to the people.
Well, he is the president of the ANC. Maybe what we need to do is to look at records. We did not launch the Latima campaign on the eve of the National Conference. We launched the Latima campaign in April, and the Latima campaign is an outcome of the research we did post our electoral declines after 2021. And one of the things that came out of that scientific study was an ANC that is somewhat absent from the problems of the people. So now, by responding in this way, you are actually guided by science. It is not just us taking a propagandist stand and going into those communities. It is science that guides our efforts. We now know, because we are going to elections in 2024. Are you saying we must not talk about service delivery, even if that process was led by our president, because suddenly there's an event called National Conference? No ways. Even if the president was not President Ramaphosa, it was another president who was not even valid to contest. Maybe they would have served 2 terms as president and feel that they want to retire now. We will still be able to push these campaigns. By the way,
we're out of time.
This campaign, just to conclude, this campaign is not just being driven by the president alone. It is driven by president and the rest of the officials and members of the National Executive Committee.
In 30 seconds, if you can, today is the deadline for the president's legal team to respond to questions from the Reserve Bank to do with the Pala investigation. We also got news today from the National Speaker Assembly, says that the president has written back to her saying that his earliest opportunity to go back to deal with questions around Pala in Parliament is the 29th of September this year. What's the view of the ANC?
Well, the fact that he has returned to the Speaker is on its own cooperation. All other matters are legal matters. I'm sure that the legal team of the President is well placed to deal with some of those issues.
And if they miss this deadline again, are you not concerned about what it will do for his standing as leader of the party? Because there are already questions about why it is that deadlines to do with the public protector, and there's been this extension for him to provide further information to the Reserve Bank, some saying it's a sign that he indeed has something to hide.
It would be unfair for the ANC to want to take a preemptive gesture on issues that fall outside its own scope. The deadline that the ANC had placed on members was the 3rd of September.
Okay.
And when we reached that deadline of the 3rd of September, we came and pronounced ourselves in the manner that we did as it relates to the National Conference. All other issues that have got to do with the Reserve Bank and the lawyers, we leave it to the rightful institutions to attend to.
Pule Mabe, spokesperson for the ANC. Good to have your time as always.
No thanks.